live. So even though it says live, I'm waiting for it to actually appear.
Okay.
You see, that's how live radio is. But this is great for you to be on your first show here. I mean, even though you were a guest before. But,
Yeah.
oh, man. So here we go.
Yeah, I'm really excited to do this with you, Chase.
Okay, you're really excited to do it. Man.
I'm really
I love
excited
that.
to do it.
Oh boy, I feel like I'm on Afternoon Delight. Yeah, she getting a little bit freaky in here. So we're about to, we know you're there, people, and we're about to start this off. We're just making sure that we're following you in the chat because just like the train, we want you to actually follow us on this show because Anne-Marie Clapp is an amazing spiritual. Oops. This is live. Anne-Marie Mayers is an amazing spiritual life coach who has a problem with her double barrel. So now, but look at that. Stop calling me. See, somebody wants me to write a book. Okay, Anne-Marie. So we're about to get started here at Condor Online. My name is Chase Johnson Lynch, and I'm here joined by the lovely Anne-Marie Mayers, a spiritual life coach, and with her, tell us a little bit about Soul Awakening before we get started with this show.
Yeah, sure. So I had the pleasure of coming on your show a couple of weeks ago with John.
That's right.
And
The train.
on the train, and we were talking about what were we talking about? It was spiritual stuff.
It was talking about like Reiki and different things.
Yeah, we just went off on a tangent.
We did kind of go off on a tangent.
We did, yeah. We just kind of went down the rabbit hole a bit, but yeah. So it was fun. So I've got the Soul Awakening Academy, which is based on the Wirral, and I run online courses, life coach practitioner to spiritual life coaching practitioner, and everything in between. So all kinds of energy healing courses, spiritual EFT, chakra coaching. So yeah, that's basically what I do for a living.
And because we enjoyed you on that show, I said, look, you need your own show, and we were gonna do something around life coaching and everything. But then we had an even further conversation around relationships.
Yeah.
And that really got deep. Can you imagine,
Anne-Marie
talking to me and Royce about relationships? Yes, it was. And we should have had a camera on, and we would have actually had to burn that footage. But we're deciding on the name for the show because every week we want to have Anne-Marie coming in here on Friday, helping you, help me, help you about relationships. So she sent me this quiz, which we're actually going to put on Facebook for other people to do the quiz as well, on discovering your love language.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're thinking love language might be an interesting title for the show.
Definitely, I think
Chime in the chat if you think so. I actually think it should be called Planet Alphabet. But then Anne-Marie said, why, Chase? Why?
I didn't get it. I think love
You're not supposed to because you're from planet numbers.
Okay.
It's the idea of the language is that people can speak, they think that is really correct, right? They can speak in alphabets and letters, and some people speak in numbers. It's just like men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah, that's exactly like the test we've just done.
Exactly.
Yeah, so how do people understand what we need from a relationship if we're not clear in our language?
Exactly.
And do we even know what we need? Did you know that your top love language was physical touch before?
I did because I'm a hugger. And anybody who knows Chase knows that Chase is a really good hugger, not in a lascivious way, but in the warmest of caring ways.
And do your...
Kind of like that Care Bear kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm.
Do your partners know that that's what you need? And has that need been fulfilled in previous relationships?
See, Jesus Christ. See, that's a very interesting question because I said I wanted to share a story. Can I just share a quick story?
Yeah, go for it.
About tactileness, I really find it very important because a lot of times, like people were just all about the communication and the contact. Like when I met my long-term partner, we're no longer together now, but when I met her, we talked on the phone for a couple of months. And I feel that was really good mental talking because you can only communicate like to the soul, so to speak, when you are not together, you're not physically in proximity.
Yeah.
But, so when we became in the same proximity, right, you would think, okay, now you're going to do it like rabbits. Right? Not like you didn't. But it wasn't important to me because what happened was we were watching a movie, right?
Is this
Like
gonna stay clean?
huh?
Are we staying clean?
Yes.
Okay.
We were watching a movie. Thank you for making sure of that, Anne Marie. We were watching a movie, and like she put her hand on my stomach,
Oh.
right? Like we were sitting on the couch, right? I'm just you know what I mean. What I'm trying to say was, it's so alleviated.
Yeah.
All kind of tension about will we or won't we, or is it gonna work, or what kind of thing it is, and I can't tell you the act of tactile touch. It's so much important to me, which is not really weird that seemed to be my highest score on this test. But that's what I was just trying to say. Sorry, tactileness.
Yeah.
Very important, man. Don't jump right in there, man. You'll get there.
That's it. But the problem arises when your top love language is physical touch, and you were to get with somebody whose top love language was receiving gifts. Yeah. It's a bit of it can be a mixed match. So you have to learn each other's love language, and then you have to consciously make sure that you're giving that to the other person, because that's how they feel loved.
Yeah, because we were having this discussion or debate when we were talking about the quiz, and it felt to me like a lot of the questions, and you know, when you take the questions yourselves, audience members, it felt like, you know, this seems to be pretty materialistic in a way that it's all about give me something, I need to receive something, I need something. Give me.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, whoa, what's going on, man? And maybe I'm thinking, you know, I like something, but I like smaller things.
Yeah, I mean, it is about that in a relationship anyway. It's about giving, receiving, it's about supporting the other person, making sure your needs are met, their needs are met. It's not just one person taking, etc. And there are 5 different love languages. So this is Love Language by Gary Chapman. He's written a book. It's really quite. He's done really well. This is quite old, to be fair.
Right.
But my top love language was words of affirmation, really followed by acts of service. So words of affirmation means that you like to hear that you're appreciated by the other person.
Yeah.
So, you know, it would be. I was surprised about this actually, that I didn't think it would be that. But for me, my love language. So if I were with somebody who didn't understand what I needed, and they weren't verbally telling me that they appreciated me, then I would feel out of alignment. I might perceive that as they don't love me when actually they do.
Where actually you didn't tell them what you needed.
And quite often we don't.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it's like, who's right and wrong in that? Because, I mean, that happens, that's a decline in a lot of relationships where it's like, that's a decline in a lot of relationships where it's all about not telling your partner what really you need. You know?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, for a relationship to be successful, you have to be able to communicate with each other. That's probably one of the biggest things. It's about communication, and it's about expressing your needs to the other person.
Yeah.
And not only that, but that other person making a conscious effort to help meet those needs in some way. Even if that person finds it really difficult to express verbally,
there we go.
Then, but if they tried and gave it a go, you would appreciate the fact that they're giving, you know what I mean?
Now, as a guy, I'll say, well, let me try.
Yeah.
Don't penalize me for not doing something. Let me try. Did I know? How am I going to know? Exactly. I do not have the power to read your mind, right? But you're penalizing me because I didn't come home with flowers.
Exactly. That's exactly the problem.
Man.
I'm glad you understand it.
I do understand it. But let me see, someone already responded in the chat. Now, this also shows you how international our show is. My cousin all the way from Columbus, Ohio is in the chat. I'll just call you Boopy. But when we put out a suggestion for titles, he said, why not us being the title? Because everyone desires a real relationship. What do you think about that?
What was the title?
Why not us?
Why not us? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Interesting, Boopy. You know, he got skills. Oh, look at him. He tried to. Love language is communication always. Come on, Boopy. Stop showing off. My man.
Yeah.
No. no,
right?
so that,
It's
yeah, no,
communication.
it is about communication, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, because the problem is that, you know, I remember being in a relationship where it's kind of like partner didn't communicate where her needs were, and then, you know, I continued to go down this road in a relationship, and then I just thought that, well, I'm allowed. I was young and stupid. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, like, don't be angry at me secretly.
Yeah.
You know, and then all that does is fester and boil till
It
the
ruins
relationship blows up.
two people think that they don't understand each other or the relationship's not working because she's not getting her needs of, I don't know, let's say quality time met, but he is in an act of service, which is one of the love languages. So he's busy looking after the car or doing the maintenance on the house. She's sat there thinking he never buys me anything, therefore he doesn't, you know, care for me. And then the two people go like this, when really at the heart of it, there could be deep love there.
Yeah.
So if they both knew what their love language was and they were able to express it and agree to meet it for each other, then that could be a relationship that would be sustainable.
Now, before we go into our main question that we were going to go into today, I'm curious, asking you the question is that, you know, the marriage vow to death do us part, right? Now, when you meet as young people, you're thinking this is going to be forever. I've watched Disney, and, you know, I found my prince or my princess, and I'm going to live happily ever after. And I'm going to be fully committed for the rest of my life in jail. Love jail. Temptation, love jail. What do you think about this?
Are you asking me what I think about marriage?
Well, okay. Throwing it out at you. I mean, I don't, you know.
Are you asking? Is that a proposal, Chase?
No, I'm saying live. I'm saying there. Remember? I don't know what to say now. I was going somewhere with this. No, okay. Because we're talking about relationships and people tend to, you know, like jump in and then you're in a long relationship. And I have like grandparents who have passed now, but they were married for like 60 some odd years. I mean, they died together in a way, you know. And like for me, growing up in that kind of family, I mean, I strongly believe in marriage. But in today's time, it just seems like, you know, different. So I was just curious, you know, from your perspective.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think if you were to ask an older generation what their values were on marriage.
Thanks, I'm old. Thanks.
I didn't want to say. Yeah, they'd probably have different. they'd probably tell, you know, have a completely different outlook. Now we've got more choice.
Yes.
And there's a lot more available.
Yes.
We've got, you know, dating sites at the, you know, the swipe of a app or whatever. And yeah, I think our values maybe around marriage, and for everybody, may have slightly changed. Maybe it is an age generational thing. I mean, I'm in my 40s. I value marriage, I value commitment and loyalty. But maybe if you were to ask a 20, 30-year-old who, you know,
who grew up on Snapchat.
I did get married in my 20s, so still had the same values, but you know, but didn't have that much kind of choice. Not saying didn't have a choice, but with technology, there's a lot more choice available to people now. And if it doesn't work, move on to the next one because it's just easily available. So I don't know, maybe the whole technology thing has made the value.
We're in a Pac-Man generation now. Chomp, 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 chomp. I want what I want, and then move on and stuff like that. Neck down the next alley. So
you're not learning much from that experience, though. You know, it's just I don't know. I could see it being a bit of an emptiness trap. You know, and you need to know what that person's searching for really. If they think they're going to find it in the next person, that doesn't work at the next one. Maybe it's something they're not looking at within themselves.
That's why you're here. Love language. I mean, boom. You know, exactly. Let's get to our question that was sent in to us. And remember, you can also send in questions into the Conjure Online for Anne-Marie because she just blew my mind right there. All right, so question we had received that we pulled out of the pile is, when I'm with him, he's all over me. And it's lovely, and everything is good. But then, when we are apart, I don't hear from him. much, and he's crap at communicating. Keep getting sucked in by how good it is when we're together, though.
Oh.
Why isn't it simple, Anne Marie?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, that's not the right answer, I don't know. But I can totally kind of understand that kind of predicament. It can be a form of mixed messages.
Right.
So it really does come back to the person who sent this message in to take ownership of her own feelings. And it puts you in a place of having to really own what you're feeling inside and how it's making you feel. Because how it's making you feel could give off a false a false perception of what's really going on. Not that I'm in any position to advise or tell anybody what to do, but what I would say is sometimes it's really good just to bite the bullet and just to be really honest about how you feel, so you can get some clarity on the situation. Do you not agree?
Well, can I give you a male's perspective?
Oh, go on.
Please don't tell me to keep it clean. I will. This message from the woman's talking about how like everything's all hot and heavy when they're together, but then he's crap at communicating, and when they're apart, right? Well, I'm sorry, whatever your name is, he's only there for one thing.
Chasey, just don't know that.
I'm a man. I'm on the planet alphabet. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know that.
That is not true. That is not true. Cancel that out. That might be true in some situations. It's not always going to be true.
No.
You're such a pessimist.
I'm not a pessimist. I'm just single. But like, no, okay. I'm just trying to say is that when people should always be thinking about one another, because I'm a romantic. So I'm a pessimist and a romantic. I think that if we're apart, I should be thinking of you. I should be like if we're not like married or together, but we're in a relationship, you should receive a good morning text from me.
Yes.
And you would enjoy that.
That would be nice.
You should receive a good night text
So,
if we're.
Why? I'm joking.
If only. But listen, Anne-Marie, we have another question from the chat.
Hang on. I don't think that we've really left that on a very good.
All right, let me leave it on a good note, Anne-Marie. I didn't leave it on a bad one.
No, alright. Yeah, I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, no, I'm not agreeing with what you said.
Okay, don't agree.
Okay.
That's all right.
But my point is that you need to find out. So the person who it's hurting or is making you feel insecure, that person needs to have a really honest, responsible conversation with that other person.
True.
To get clarity on the situation and use their intuition, I guess, to see if what you say may be a stand up in the
So,
law.
I agree with you. I am not a rule. I agree that people should be open and honest and communicating. I'm just saying by the strength of her letter, it was about like when they're apart, there's no real communication. When they're together, boom, it's all happy and hot and heavy, and then he's gone. Sorry, that was my perception of your child. So here we go. Another international question from across the pond. Couples have to understand that we have already been raised by our parents. You're not my parent, you are my partner. Treat me as such. Communication is key, but you have to be open to it. Relationships is not work, but dedication to him or her. Be dedicated to the relationship and it will work. I will not say who this person is and how they're involved. But I would just say it's from across the pond, and I will have to make a phone call. But what do you think about that?
I agree with that.
Oh, you do, you know.
Yes, I do agree with
What
that
part?
because quite often we can go into the parent mode. So the person sees that person as a child and will come across as kind of criticising or condescending to the child. That other person is only going to respond one way.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a few ways, but they are not going to. They're not having an adult to adult conversation when one person takes the parent role because it puts the other person.
Or they are placed in the parent role, not taken on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, and you could probably explain it more, but you know, like there's a nurturing side of mothers where men are looking for, as well as there's a nurturing side of fathers that women are looking for. Is this true? In a psychological sense.
I'm not sure because that can be. It depends because there's extremes of that.
Of course there is. I'm not trying to say
In a
that
healthy
somebody wants to sleep with their
relationship.
mom. I'm just trying to say somebody wants the nurturing capacity of a mother so to be taken care of. Same thing of a father to take care of that woman or anything like that. So I'm not looking at it nurture.
I'm not quite. I understand what you're saying with that, but it's basically saying that both people want to be cared for and nurtured. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
On an equal adult to adult level.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously.
Well, we like it to be equal. We like it to be 50-50.
Yeah, because basically what can happen is that person goes into a relationship as an unhealed child and is looking for that and is looking for that scenario to fix the wound of the hurt child.
Touch my wound.
I'll fix it later. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. But no, I'm totally digging you. Keep talking.
Yeah, well, so the question was about.
I mean, what could I do about that without having like weeks of counseling?
No, you need weeks of.
That's me. We're talking about the people. Ready? We're talking about the people.
Years of psychotherapy.
All right, not me. But the people. No, that was really good. I mean, because it is point to that everybody comes from a past.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like they are trying to heal it or resolve it, take care of it, nurture it, and if they can at least identify that there's a wound that they're trying to heal, seal up with the other person, then that's a lot that you're putting on the partner that is just walking in. Hey, whoa,
Yeah.
This room is all of a sudden cramped. I'm all of a sudden suffocating. And where's the exit? Right?
If you want to know what your wound is, then you just have to look back on your previous relationships. It can be relationships with intimate partners or relationships with your colleagues, with work scenarios,
Family.
Everybody you're relating to. If you want to know what that unhealed aspect of you is, you need to do the work up, see what pattern, see what theme has been constant in your life. That's when you're. That's.
You mean like in your constant relationships, like
like
he's always leaving me, or she's always this, or it's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah, and the story that you tell yourself when that happens.
You're fantastic.
Yeah, that's when you know that's the unhealed part, and that gets triggered all the time. We all have got like wounded aspects to ourselves. That's the point. That's why the soul awakening method is in existence, because this is the stuff that I work with people on. It's find your story and rewrite it, because you are creating your future based on your past, and it's I've been there, I've lived it, and I live it every day because I'm constantly being triggered, and it constantly is giving you that keep working.
You know about those constant triggers.
Doesn't stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the thing about it is like, how do you absolve your partners when you learn this kind of stuff about yourself? Because like, what you just hit the nail on the coffin is when you're constantly being triggered. So that means like your partner could be doing something that they don't even actually know is wrong.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden they're getting the heat, they're getting the attack for it.
Sure.
I mean, how could you, besides noticing it, what do you think a person could do? Because this is all adhered to a communication.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is basically what you just said, noticing that it's happening within you.
Within you,
yeah. So that person's probably not doing anything wrong per se. It's just triggering something in you that only you have the power then.
It awakens something.
To change, yeah. So being conscious of it is the first key, because if you're unconscious of it, it's just going to keep happening. You're totally oblivious. You'll keep changing partners, keep changing scenarios, and the same thing will keep coming back to you to be worked on. So being conscious of it, then you have to do the work on it, which is not just. I can't just say it.
You can't just do it
once. No,
you got to keep kind of like and it's going to keep coming at you, right? Because it's kind of like it's that thing of like they say about your ego, right? It's that thing of like it's constantly haranguing you in your ear, but it's not like you can kill it. It's not like you can lock it in a closet and tie it up.
Yeah.
You can muffle it,
Mm.
but it's still a part of you, like your arm.
That's
So,
to
yeah.
understand it though, isn't it?
Best to understand it, exactly.
Yeah, to
You
try
know, that's
and
my
understand
spirit
where
guide
it's
down
come
there. Keep doing it, Benita, it's all good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You know, there is another physical person in the room and stuff.
I need to see somebody
The
not
walls
really
aren't talking.
Oh, I think the walls too. Do talk. So I mean, you know, like bringing it down, like or encapsulating this, right? So we're talking about love language, and we're talking about communication. You know, I mean, so what advice do you think, or that people could like